inconceivable.
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 Inconceivable. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Fair to say there are plenty of people who use certain words and have no concept of what they really mean. There is nothing quite like the English language for its multitude of linguistic turns and verbal twists. Often we're called by some around the world as either a leader in creating new words or those who destroy proper English. No matter your call, we're adding new words to the vocabulary every day, some of which actually do make sense. Let's welcome to MidPoint, Executive Editor at Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, publishers of the American Heritage Dictionary. Steve Kleinedler joins us today. Steve, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Steve, we're looking at new words in the American Heritage Dictionary for 2014 and 2015 and beyond. What's a criteria that you use to figure out exactly what are the new words to put in here?
Well, it depends on the realm that the word comes from. Sometimes it's very obvious if a consultant in a specific field says it needs to go in. A good example would be whenever there are new chemical elements that are added to the periodic table. Once the board that's responsible for naming those elements makes their decision, in it goes. Most words aren't that cut and dried, though. So the editorial staff here, in conjunction with our consultants, we're always looking at areas in our fields, but also areas that are just widely used in the news. For example, when we take evidence of these, we call these citations, and periodically we go through all the words that we've been looking at and decide, oh, it's might be time for this one to go in, this one needs further research, and we judge them all on a case-by-case basis.
Isn't it also like popular use, though, comes in here? Because here's a word, clickbait, a provocative or sensationalistic headline text. This is only because people continually use their phones every 27 seconds, right? So this becomes more along the lines of driven and created by people. It's just a made-up word that becomes part of the vernacular.
Correct, and it's certainly, you know, the components of it, click and bait, have been around for centuries. It is a word that is not only used widely, but is talked about widely. News and business stories talking about the financial ramifications of clickbait, certainly because so many sites get their revenue based on how many clicks they get. This is a way of getting them. So there's a lot of factors that play into the rise in popularity and use of this term.
And also putting together words, I guess, because here's another one, cosplay, which is basically dressing in costume and showing up at a lot of the different conventions as well. This is costume play. So aren't we now as a society basically shortening a lot of words and just trying to create interesting words that way by not having to say costume play, so you want to say cosplay?
Well, yes, that is shortening or portmanteauing. All of these factors are very common ways of adding words to the language. It's certainly nothing new. However, Lewis Carroll in the 1800s created many words, chortle, a cross between chuckle and snort. It's a very productive process that's been going on for centuries, if not millennia, if you look at languages prior to English.
Steve, I have always looked for ways to use the word chortle in a show somewhere, and you got it in. I mean,
there you go.
That's absolutely one of the best. And one last word here, which again I think speaks to a lot of the technicalese here. Dash cam. It's a very technical item, a video camera mounted inside. This is basically something that Madison Avenue will come up with. They'll create it as a product, and then you realize that it has to enter the language, correct?
Yes. And it's entered the language in two separate streams of newsworthy events. One, if you look at the fraud going on in Russia, where there were a lot of insurance scams involving accidents, dash cams in Russia are pretty ubiquitous. Everyone has one because you need the record for insurance. And here in the United States, their use in the cars of police officers as a way of substantiating or proving what did or didn't happen for routine traffic stops and the like, they become, the dash cams themselves become part of the news cycles and something that people start discussing and that you see in print. And so over time it becomes worthy of inclusion.
It is the 5th edition. It's additions and revisions to the 5th edition of the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, over 500 new words and senses. I only have about 10 seconds left. You still actually put out a real book, right?
We do. All this content is available at ahdictionary.com, and the book itself is available in bookstores both online and in brick and mortar form.
There you go. I'm just making sure because here we sit in this sort of a society. Everything's online. I need to make sure that the old guys like me can still pick up a book every now and then, which is actually
Absolutely.
a great thing to do. Steve Kleinedler, thanks so much for joining us. To you and yours and the whole group there, a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, and you as well.
All right, take care. Stay with us. MidPoint continues, where we question everything.